Hey friends, it's Michael Kingswood. It's story time and it's time for the deep dive. It's been a few days since we've done one of these, so here I am. I'm sure you guys have been all sitting at the edge of your seat, waiting. Where's that Kingswood guy been? Where's he been? I know he posted a story over the weekend, and it was really a great story that if you haven't listened to it or read it, you should. Just like you should, read all the rest of the stories that I've been sharing. The most recent ones having been from Stories from the Great Challenge, 52 stories that I wrote over the course of a year. A story a week, which few writers are actually able to do. I mean, everybody's able to do it. Few writers actually do, but I did. And it's not bragging if you can do it. So, there was a question on Twitter the other day. What's the difference between arrogance and confidence? And what do you think about the two? From a I forget who wrote and questioned it. And I responded thus. I said, hey, arrogance is unearned confidence because it's not bragging if you can do it. And I think that sums it up, right? I mean, some jackass who shows up and says, oh, I'm a big, tough guy, and he hasn't done anything. It's like, well, you're just being arrogant. Whereas somebody who's been around the block is confidence. So I did indeed fulfill that challenge. And so I can brag about it because it's not bragging because I did it. Anyway, so go by that. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag over the weekend since was the last time I talked to you guys was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday with Worship Wednesday, which we're going to continue Worship Wednesday this Wednesday. Again, worship as in naval vessels, not church. Because I'm not a pastor. I'm just a retired naval officer. But anyway, so what happened since we left? We'll sum that up and then we'll get to discussion. So Thursday, of course, was Thanksgiving. It was awesome. We had 2 turkeys. One was smoked, the other was baked. 2 turkeys entered, no turkeys left. The turkey dome was successful, but I will say though, the smoked turkey was better than the baked turkey. And of course, I made my chicken and dumplings and the best gravy on the planet, which is my specialty for Thanksgiving. And it was a good time. We all hung out over at the ex's place with the kiddos and everybody else, and it was good. Um, Friday rolled around, and I was like, man, it's been a good week. I had crushed my cash flow goals up to that week. I crushed a bunch of things, and I was like, man, it was the day after Thanksgiving. I don't want to work. So I kind of took it a little easy on Friday, and in retrospect, that was a mistake because took it a little easy, not completely easy. I got some publishing work done, stuff that I hadn't gotten around to doing on the publishing world got done on Friday, and then on Friday evening went and played some poker, and then. But I really get much in terms of driving cash flow, which is the primary cash flow right now. Not much. On Saturday, went out and did some driving, made some bucks, and went and played some poker. And then, but it really didn't hit it as hard as I could have or should have. And something happened on Saturday. I'm trying to remember what it was. It got me kind of bummed out. Uh, it wasn't something major, but it's one of those things where it's like, man, that just kind of sucks. Even though it doesn't suck, but it puts you in the funk like it sucks. If that makes any sense. And so Sunday, I yesterday I drove a bunch, and it's weird. Sunday morning, I was gonna go out before church, and the car started, and it did a little vibrational shudder for a second or two, and then it was normal. I was like, well, that was weird. Went out, made some money, got back, did a few things, just publishing work in the evening. Um, and played some poker in the evening because that's what you do on Sunday night. And then this morning, this car was vibrating and shuddering and being like weird. for a good 15 seconds or so. I was like, what the heck's going on? And then the engine light came on. It's like, oh, geez. Well, I guess I'm not going out today. So I called the mechanic, the dealership guys, and as soon as I could, brought the car over there. And I said, okay, well, I'm just going to work on publishing stuff today. So that's what I did. In fact, that was a mixed blessing for that because there was as I've been doing these Saturday stories, I've been taking the time to record them and edit them and get the cover art done and all this other sort of things. But I recently sat back and looked and was like, you stupid jerk. You haven't been publishing these stories for people to buy. Right? I have got the collection out, the stories from the Drake Your Head Challenge collection, but I hadn't put the individual ones out there as because you always want to have everything out there. And yeah, the first few stories when I was doing this, I sort of had an excuse because I was just rushing it, and I didn't come up with cover for each individual one. I just used the cover for this for the video. Um, and I've gone back subsequently and updated the thumbnails in the video. Once you upload the videos and upload the podcast, you can't really edit the podcast or the podcast you can. It's just an MP3 file you can re-update, but the video I haven't figured out how to do that on the various video channels yet. But the thumbnails at least you can go and update. So I've done that, but I've been sitting there and I look back, it's like, holy smokes, I've got like 20 stories that I haven't bothered to put out on Amazon or the rest, or even my damn website. And then put it on my website either. So all day today, I've been going and I've already had the damn things proofed. I mean, I've already got them formatted, so I just been uploading them. So I got like 10 of those done today. And hell, I've got the damn audiobooks recorded because when I did these stupid podcasts, they're not stupid, but you know what I mean. And I just hadn't bothered to put them out there for people to buy because I'm a dummy. Right. And so holy cow, all of a sudden, oh, says hello. Hi. Anyway, uh, all of a sudden today I'm doing all this. Then get a call back from the mechanic. Hey man, your head gasket is blown. It's like, son of a bitch. But hey, there's good news though. Your car, since it's a Prius, falls under this weird near zero emission vehicle warranty thing that I never heard of before. That goes until 150,000 miles, and I'm at 146,000 miles on my car. It's like, oh, cool, that'll cover the head gasket. Yeah, it will, but we really need to ship the head over to make sure because we don't know what caused the gasket to blow. Right, so we need to do an inspection on that, and that won't cover that inspection part. And if you need valve work, it won't cover that. It's like, okay, well, that makes sense. We can do that. Anything else wrong? Well, yeah, you need a brake job. I knew the brake job was coming. I was planning to get it done here sometime the next couple weeks. And a few other things. And I had hit a couple of really big dips in the road recently, and I asked them to evaluate if maybe the dip damage caused anything. Because if it does, it's an insurance thing, right? It's not something I did. And they said, yeah, there's some body damage that you should probably have. And so I'll talk to the insurance company about that. But meanwhile, I got to send the head off to be inspected. Ask me a few $100, and then I'm gonna have to get the brakes done. I already knew that, and that's not that big a deal. The problem is their parts. They don't have the parts for the head gasket, so it's gonna take them a week to get that thing. So now I'm laid up without these wheels to go make Uber bucks with in every way. It's like, son of a bitch, that sets me back a bit. And over the weekend when I was doing the poker thing, I got hit pretty hard with poker. Between Friday and Saturday, I was like down $700. Like, son of a gun. And I was really after I got the news from these guys about that today, I was like, son of a gun. So I have two cars. There's my personal car, which is lower gas mileage, it's an Optima, um, and I've got my Prius. The Prius is just for Uber because Last summer when I was doing this, started doing this a lot. Seriously, I was like, dude, I can't put 4,000 miles a month on my personal car. And also, I didn't want to keep track of what miles was personal, what mileage was not. I was get this high gas mileage thing for this business. All the mileage go to that. Mileage deduction that year was 56 cents a mile. This year, it's 62 cents a mile. Big reduction in tax burden. But yeah, I've had that. So I've gone and started re-registering. I get my Optima to drive again, but that thing averages 24 miles a gallon. The Prius off averages 42. I'm not. I had cash. I had set my cash flow scenario based on the Prius thing. And it's like, son of a bitch, this ain't gonna work. And then I lost a bunch of money. Uh, doing stupid stuff over the weekend. Of course, then I went back and looked at it. It's like, okay, even though I lost some money over the weekend, I'm still up $900 for the week. So earlier this afternoon, I was feeling very emotional, like, oh gosh, it's all starting to fall apart. What's going on here? And it turns out it's really not, but it's easy to get, the knee jerk emotional thing. Cause okay, let's say I didn't have the personal mobile. The car's out of action for a week and I can't get making any driving. Well, geez, I just have to write more. And I would just have to do some more booker and make money that way because I'm 60% of the time I make money doing that. Um, and that's not such a bad thing. And I have savings set aside to cover for, you know, bad stuff happening. I just don't want to bust into them, right? No, who does? Uh, so going through kind of a little bit of a turmoil here today. And so that's why I'm talking about rolling with the punches because I felt like I've taken a couple punches over the weekend and today, primarily today from this head gasket thing. And the fact that what had been the really the primary cash flow maker for the last year is out of action for at least a week, maybe two, just because that's how long things will take. And on the one hand, hey, I got no excuse not to work on what I really should be working on for long-term stuff, which is the writing. I mean, it's inexcusable that I was 15 stories behind in publishing things. Um, and now I've made up most of that gap. It's inexcusable that I hadn't put the audiobooks up that I've recorded. The whole part of the whole point of this story Saturday, aside from the fact of getting it word out to people and having fun and getting word out to people, however few, it's just gradually growing over time. The whole point of it is that, but also to have audiobook recordings because that's another cash flow stream. And the one thing I've learned about with audiobooks, especially if you go through some of the AC Audible and those other things, those are fine. But there's other places where you can go put your audiobooks up, like that get you into audiobook libraries and things like that. It's just a great cash stream that a lot of indie writers don't ignore because they don't think about it or they don't know about it. You go through Find Away Voices to all these other little streams, and it's not a lot. Each individual one isn't a lot, but you get enough of them out there, and it becomes a big amount. And subsequently, I'm looking back and it's like, well, geez, I've got like 25 of these damn audiobooks that I've recorded that I haven't bothered to put up because I've been putzing off doing other things instead of focusing on the main thing. And so the punch today has kind of punched me in the face to realize, damn it, focus on the main thing, which I haven't been doing. And so it's, it's been a punch. And it's been annoying to realize that I have to adjust to the punch, but it's also a good thing because, keep the main thing the main thing. Isn't that what the wise people always say? I kind of haven't been doing that lately. So I guess now I have no choice but to. And I mean, I'm getting the other car gonna go get it inspected tomorrow to go make Uber money, but I won't make as much this week, and I'll have less time to do it. And Meanwhile, today I've gotten 10 of those stories that I hadn't gotten to get bothered to get up. And so that's a good thing. The or still it's annoying. So that's what happened up with that. Other good things that have been going on. Hey, it was the daughter's birthday this last weekend. Yay. And actually the son's weekend birthday, one of the son's birthdays the weekend before. So yeah, daughter's 15 now. Yeah. I need more guns. Too bad I'm in California. But no, it's great. She's doing great. The boys are doing great. The ex who I'm not enemies with is doing fine too. So I mean, mom and dad are doing great. Dad got a I had a little bit of a scare with dad the other day because he went to the hospital for something. He's like, "Hey, what?" I heard he thought he had a stroke or something. I called him up. He's like, "Yeah, no, they say I had COVID." I'm like, "He had a cold." Yeah, I have to, you know, stay away from everybody for 10 days. All right, well, do what you got to do. At least nothing serious. He's like, "Yep." It's like, "All right, cool," which is great because he's was it 75 now? No, 78. He was born in 44. Yeah, 78. My mom is 75. So like, sheesh, they're getting up in age. So every time we see them, I mean, you never know, right? So mom was just here. We're going out, taking the kids out to Florida to see everybody on Christmas. So that'll be good. So even though there's been a couple hits, things are still doing pretty decently. So it's important to keep that in perspective, I guess. Of course it is. Um, yeah. So I guess that the small amount of bitching and moaning, which I guess isn't really warranted. I mean, okay, blown gasket, the acid does suck, but it's not that big a deal. We'll figure it out. But here's what it is. But hey, thanks for all y'all who showed up. I'm going to bid adieu now that I've vented, and I'm gonna go work on publishing and go make some more money. And because the kids are with mom this week, so it's just me and the dog and money making. So that's what I'm gonna do. So things that are going on this week. We are going to do Warship Wednesday, not worship, Warship again. And I'm going to do another anecdote from the episodes of the USS Barb. Because I like submarine warfare because I'm a submariner, and because I'm a big fan of Gene Flucky. So we're going to talk about that. And on Saturday, that's going to be on Wednesday. On Saturday, we're going to do the next story from Stories from the Great Challenge, which is story number 35, which is Sacred Vows, which I talked about at the end of the last Story Saturday video, which if you hadn't seen the last Story Saturday video, you really should. This is one about, and most of the time I do science fiction or fantasy or things like that, but this was more uh, different kind of a religious thing. There's the basically it's about a monk and a nun, and they kind of fall in love. I wrote it because I was invited to a romance anthology course. I couldn't actually write a romance because these two guys, their vows are important to them. They're sacred vows, so they're in love, but they're still doing their sacred vows. So how's that going to work? And it ends up becoming a cool, touching, religious, emotional thing. Trust me, you'll like it. So come by Saturday for that. Meantime, I'm going to go sign off. And like the greener shade of pale said, I'm going to write and I'm going to do other things to make money and I'm going to stop bitching. All right. Thanks everybody for dealing with me as I have been complaining. Now that that's done, I'm just going to take care of business. See you.